Clapping motion. Please could you welcome to the stage Ryan Gage and Guy Henry. Hello, how are you doing? Hello. Hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
How are you doing? Are you having a good day?
I've had a lovely day. Everyone's been incredibly friendly. The people of Norwich, you have done well in terms of your hospitality and joyfulness.
And I've met people from Lowestoft.
Who's from Lowestoft here?
Swaffham, Durham, and the Philippines.
The Philippines? Really?
I made that up.
Oh, okay. Well, we can go with it, that's fine. The Philippines. So, let's have a quick chat about kind of varied careers here. I mean, actually quite a lot of things today we've been talking about, quite varied careers that everyone, I mean, this is a silly thing to say really, isn't it? Because, you know, we're all actors that have worked in things, but kind of, especially whilst doing a lot, I mean, I tend to do my own research here, thank you very much. I haven't got any researchers doing my stuff. I was looking through everything that you guys have been doing, and there is so much. So first of all, can I just let's just talk to Guy for a second. So obviously you've been in Holby for quite a while, or
On and off for
On and off.
8 years, yeah. But they let me go off and do other things, which is fantastic. I'm very fortunate. Elderly character actor, employed. It's a triumph.
One of the things which is I'm very interested to hear about is being let out of Holby to do Tarkin. How was that? That seems like a daunting task to do. Was it daunting?
It was really frightening because I'm not a mimic. I admired Peter Cushing, who obviously, as we all know, created Tarkin in the original Star Wars film. And my agent rang up and said, there's a very, very secret thing, I can't tell you what it is, you have to meet the director, you have to talk secretly about this secret thing. And they took us to the most public media restaurant in London, and we whispered a lot. And actually at the next door table were people who really liked Holby City. And I encouraged them to praise me to the skies so that hopefully I got the role, which I did. But seriously though, Peter Cushing was a great, lovely actor, and I was very, very worried about letting him down. And I spent a very long time going over and over lines from A New Hope, trying to sound like him. And as I say, I'm not a mimic, but I tried my best, and then when the film actually escaped, I kept getting texts from friends, ex-friends really, saying, as soon as you opened his mouth, I knew it was you. So I don't think my impression was very good really, but I keep saying, you may fire when ready, over and over again.
One very quick question then. Some Star Wars fans out there might know that Peter Cushing didn't like the boots and therefore decided to wear his slippers on set. Boots or slippers?
No, I was very butch. I wore the boots. I love the boots. I didn't have the slippers, me. No, it was... Also, they didn't offer me slippers, I think. And don't forget that in those days, Peter Cushing was an established, major British star actor, and Star Wars was nothing. It was this strange film that they were doing, and he graciously condescended to do it. But in no way I imagine him thinking that it would be the amazing, lovely, wonderful thing that it now is. It was a job, I suppose. So I suppose if he wanted to wear slippers, that was fine.
Absolutely. Ryan, one thing that I was interested in when I was doing my many hours of research, one pinnacle moment of your career, I think, for me, it's a very personal moment, is Hustle. One tiny little bit in Hustle, which after doing quite a lot of research, I went, Of course! He's from Hustle! I know that's such a ridiculous thing. I mean, how many people remember Hustle from it? I mean, it was
Come on, raise those hands.
there. Come on there.
Where are all the Hustle fans?
There we go, there's some grifters out there.
I think I did Hustle. Just a minute. I think I
That's it
did
as well.
Yeah, I was a wine sommelier in Hustle.
You were!
I've been about a bit.
Absolutely. I've been rewatching them and I haven't got there, but I know exactly who. I know with the double wines and you.
That's it.
Two people.
He's a fan of Hustle. Has anybody noticed?
I really am. This is great. So let's just quickly talk about The Hobbit then, as an experience. What was that like? How did that come about?
Well, it came about because I went for an audition.
Done.
But it was an extraordinary experience. I was in a play with lots of young actors and some very geriatric actors as well. And lots of the people involved in the play were getting auditions for The Hobbit. And I sort of phoned my agent and said, "Can I have one?" And they sort of went, "Oh, darling, everyone wants to audition for The Hobbit." And I said, "Well, everyone else seems to be getting one. Can I have a go?" And I got one, and I did about 5 auditions over a year. Auditioned for lots of different parts. I auditioned for Jimmy Nesbitt's parts, I auditioned for lots of other people's parts. And then eventually I got a very small part called, I forgot what it was called now. But
It was Lickspickle.
No.
Oh no, wait, hang on.
Originally, I got a part that was cut from the original film. So I got this smaller part. It was a cousin of Bilbo Baggins, or yeah. And then they decided to change that. They decided to cut that part, and so they subsequently gave me a much bigger part, which was Alfred. So yeah, that's the shorthand version of how I ended up doing the film.
Which, I mean, audition process it's quite a simple thing really. But one thing I did want to also talk about is Red Dwarf as well. That's quite, I mean, Red Dwarf is massive, it's absolutely massive. Were you a fan of Red Dwarf before you were involved in it in a very, quite a major part?
Yeah, I was a huge fan. I was a huge fan of Red Dwarf as a child. It was literally my favourite show. And another favourite show of mine was The Young Ones. Actually, I saw someone wearing a Young Ones outfit today. And when Rick Mayall died, I don't know, I had this strange compulsion to tell people who were in my favourite childhood shows that I appreciated. Do you know what I mean? I just had this strange thing, and I met Aid Edmonson, and I sort of said, I just wanted to tell you that I thought that show was so important to me as a kid. I know it sounds silly because it's such a silly show, but it just meant something. And I had an opportunity to say the same thing to the Red Dwarf writers, Doug and Rob. And I said, look, I just wanted to say, I know this sounds a bit morbid, but just in case you die, I just wanted to know that I love the show. And then they started talking about The Hobbit and blah blah blah. Chiefly Doug, obviously, because Rob isn't involved in it anymore. And then and then they asked me to be in it, and I genuinely wasn't expecting that. It was just me being a bit of a fan, really. But then they said, well, we'd love you to be in it, and then they told me who I was playing, and I thought that was really funny.
Who's seen Red Dwarf in this particular episode? We've got quite a few fans there. Oh, good. Because usually with Norfolk, there's quite a large amount of Red Dwarf fans that are here. We seem to have a lot of the Red Dwarf fan base. We've had Chris here quite a few times,
Is that why?
Maybe probably, yeah. I think it's probably because he's very local. Am I saying that? I don't know. Anyway. But yeah, so sorry, just popping back to Holby then. I love gore and things like that, but I'm very I hate kind of hospitals and anything that I'm really squeamish and that kind of stuff as well. Have you come up against anything? Because I know that hospital things and doctors and stuff are a fear of people. Have you come up against anything like that, doing something like Holby?
No, it's... we did a very strange operation recently where people's stomachs fill with jelly. The body makes jelly of some kind. Of course, in Holby world, it was actually pineapple jelly, which I don't think is what the body makes, but they look remarkably the same, just taste different, I think. But I'm not particularly squeamish, I have to say, but just occasionally you do have to remind yourself that it is rubber, and that sticky, horrible stuff that they use for blood. But it's what I admire about Holby, the writing and the production team and everybody involved, they do try very hard to make it as credible as they can for a 1 hour weekly. I mean, it's 52 hours of television a year on 3 sets and a very cold car park. Those are the glamorous conditions we work in, you know. And they try very hard. 52 hours, that's like 26 feature films back to back, if you like, every year. So it's a great achievement, and I love having created a character that I find interesting and is delightful to play. And also, seriously, I've done lots of work in the theatre and guesting roles and things, so to have a regular role that they also let me escape from to do other things, I do consider myself very fortunate. But no, in terms of the medical stuff, I haven't had to. If you go to a hospital yourself, though, quite strange the reaction from the public who are in there, or often the staff and other surgeons, real surgeons, or nod at me sagely in the corridor if I go down, you know, as if they were at medical school with me. They don't realise I'm just a stupid old actor.
Well, you've done your job there. People are believing that you're a doctor.
Yes, the trick is not to believe it yourself. I was filming my very first few weeks on Holby, the wonderful Amanda Mealing, who plays Connie Beecham in the show, and I won't go on for those of you who don't know the show, but she, for want of anything better to say, while we were doing an operation, I said to her, "Right, you're very good at this, Amanda," and she stood there with her hand on her hip and said, "Yes, I think I could do this, you know." And I thought, well, please don't try. I mean, imagine going into a hospital, you know, for a quadruple bypass, and they say, "I'm afraid Mr. Singh can't do your operation today, but we have got that lovely girl from Casualty." You wouldn't be full of confidence, would you?
So, popping back to kind of Hobbit and the Musketeers as well, that was quite a massive thing as well. The kind of, you've moved a little bit towards kind of costumery kind of things. I've seen a lot of costumes within some of your parts. Is that quite an exciting process to go through?
Wearing a costume?
I mean,
it can be great fun, as everybody here can testify. Sometimes it's great fun to dress up. Yes, there was a lot of makeup and a lot of costumes and lots of the things that I've done. And Louis was no exception. I played King Louis XIII in The Musketeers, if any of you saw that series. And yeah, there was plenty of wigs and plenty of makeup. I used to get in very, very early before the boys. They used to stroll in, get a bit of hair gel, and I used to be in with the girls getting pampered and preened for a good hour and a half easily before they were even out of bed. So yes, that's the hard bit, actually. It's not all those stunts and sword fighting that they were doing. It's getting out of bed even earlier to get your makeup on.
Was it quite an interesting process going and playing someone like that as well? Or is it quite a daunting thing to do?
Sorry, do you mean playing a king?
Oh yeah, sorry.
I approached it as I would approach any role, really, but he was certainly an interesting person. He's an interesting historical character. He's also an interesting fictional character, because he's in the book, so there was something to look at. But they made it very clear from the beginning, the writers made it very clear that we were going to create our own Louis. We were not going to be restricted or constricted by the historical or the established book. So we had plenty of room to play, and over the 3 series I think we did, he developed. So no, it wasn't daunting, but it was certainly fascinating. It's interesting to think about what you would be like if you had absolute power, whether or not you would be use it for good or for ill. I'd like to think that I'd be somewhere in the middle. No, I'd like to think that I'd be a good king, but no, I think it's pretty easy to become selfish, I would imagine, and you want somebody who's going to say no to you, because otherwise, yeah, you become a little bit of a monster, which he could be at times.
Power corrupts.
Well, it's a great responsibility as well.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Thank goodness.
So before I just carry on talking, because I could easily talk to these guys a lot, are there any questions, immediate questions? Oh, we've got one straight question down there. Okay, I'm gonna run down here. Hello, what is your question?
Guy, do you prefer blue scrubs or raspberry scrubs?
The scrubs, the costume I wear as a doctor. Well, I loathe them because I'm too thin and I look like a sort of raspberry-coloured grasshopper on heat. I hate wearing the scrubs. And the operate, I don't know how the real surgeons do it. It's ghastly. Well, the mask and you're covered in sticky blood. And also, doing the operations in Holby, it's actually quite boring. As you say, there's a bleed, and then somebody does something clever out of shot with their hands, and then the operation's over. So real surgeons do it properly. It must be rather more challenging. No, but it's a great thing. But no, the scrubs you can keep as far as I'm concerned. Don't like them.
Was there another question that I saw pop up around where did it go? Oh, there it go. Hello, what is your question?
Ryan,
Hello?
was it you who made the line abandon the cripples in Hobbit?
Sorry, I didn't get that question.
Was it you who made up the line abandon the cripples?
Abandon the Cripples was not me, no. That was a line by, I think Peter Jackson came up with Abandon the Cripples, just to, you know, just make a point of just how vile and vicious the character was.
Thank you very much. Was there another one around here as well? Back here again. Okay, we are unfortunately hurtling towards the end. We've only had 20 minutes.
We've only skimmed the surface.
There's so much to talk about. But of course, if you wanted to ask your questions, then they're right at the back. Both of you.
Yeah, come over and say hi.
Have a chat and grab a photo. And yeah, thank you so much for having a chat with, and thank you so much for coming to Norfolk as well. That's wonderful.
Thank you all for turning up.
Yeah, yeah, it's not Norfolk without you guys. So thank you very much. Please, yeah, put your hands together for these two.
Thank you.
Ryan.